Bad news, Casemiro's leaving. Whether people like it or not, it's going to leave a massive hole in Man United's midfield. This isn't just about replacing a player, it's about replacing what he gives the team. The experience, the presence, the bite in midfield, reading of danger, the ability to sit there, break things up, and give United a bit of authority in the middle of the pitch. With Casemiro confirmed to leave at the end of the season, it's no surprise United have been linked with a absolute bomb squad of players. Reuters reported that the decision back in January, and Sky have also reported that signing at least one, or maybe even two, top centre midfield targets in the summer transfer window. Now, this is interesting, but United are not just linked with one type of midfielder. Some of these names are destroyers, some are controllers, some are more box to box, and some are just good old fashioned all rounders. So, this video is going to ask one question and break things down. Who actually fits? Who replaces what Casemiro gives United? Who improves the midfield? And if we go and sign a couple, maybe even three, what combinations actually work and would make most sense? Let's get into it. Okay, first on the list, Carlos Baleba. His name always pops up anytime we're talking about Man United midfield reinforcements. Can he replace what Casemiro gives? Not entirely, but he's the closest when it comes to what Casemiro gives defensively. This guy, what stands out about him, his athleticism. He's young, explosive, aggressive. He covers ground amazingly. So if United are looking for that midfield sort of battler, this might be the option. Sometimes we're far too open. Sometimes we're too easy to run through. Sometimes we're too easy to counter. Balba, he makes a lot of sense because he will fix a lot of these problems. He looks like a sort of midfielder who can protect the back four, win duels, recover into space, and deal with the physical side of the Premier League. That's a big strength. He gives you legs, he gives you power, he gives you defensive coverage. But the weakness, he's not the complete answer, not on his own. He cannot replace Casemiro. He can replace one part of what Casemiro does, but Casemiro does a hell of a lot more than just protect the back four. He's not one I'd look at and say instantly he gives control in matches. He doesn't solve anything going forward. He's also going to cost an absolute fortune because Brighton know exactly what they've got and they know exactly what Man United need. So Balaba, he feels like one of those signings where if United buy him, they probably still need somebody else alongside him. This might be the best defensive fit, but it might not be the best all round fit. Okay, next on the list is Adam Wharton. Wharton is the one that screams control. And if the next version of United is supposed to be calmer, smarter, better on the ball, then Wharton is the one with the most obvious attributes to fulfill that. He's not all about flying into tackles. He's not all about frantic energy. He's about rhythm. He's about taking the ball, using it well, progressing it, helping your team play through the thirds, getting it up front, getting it to the forwards. That's why he's so attractive. Because one of United's biggest problems for years now, that too many games it becomes messy. Too many games become stretched. Too many games become end to end. Too many games you're just recycling possession. This guy punches the ball fast as he can, straight up front. And that's not saying he's playing long ball all the time. That's just saying he's direct. He finds attackers. If they're moving, he will find them. He's a brilliant passer of the ball. He creates chances. Now his weakness, he is not a pure enforcer. He will work hard defensively, but he is not a Balaba. He's not even a Casemiro. So if people are expecting a straight Casemiro replacement in terms of aggression, ball winning, the old school screening, Wharton isn't really that. He'll do his job. He'll work hard, but he's not going to replace that side of Casemiro. So for me, Wharton, he's not really the answer if you're doing a one in, one out. He's someone who can do everything, but he excels going forward. He excels controlling the game. He excels with the ball and passing it. He does not excel at being the defensive cover like a Casemiro does, like a Balba would. So if we buy Wharton, we're probably going to need to buy someone else. Okay, next up, Elliot Anderson. This is a really interesting one because he feels like the energy signing. He's the one you look at and you think, this could change the intensity of the midfield. What I like about Anderson, that he doesn't look one dimensional. He can run, he can press, he can compete, he can carry the ball, and he can create as well. He's not just a worker, he's not just a runner, he's got actual football brain inside him. That's what makes him really appealing for a team that wants more aggression, more mobility in midfield without sacrificing anything on the ball. That's why this guy is going to be not just wanted by Man United. In fact, I believe Man City are interested as well. So if United want somebody to sit there to hold position and do all the dirty work that Casemiro does at his best, Anderson isn't that exact profile. but he does everything else. He's more like a midfielder who raises the athletic level of the team. He raises the tempo. He raises the press. He raises the energy. He absolutely raises the bar. This guy, if we're in for him, he's not going to be cheap. But he can't come in on his own either. If you buy him, you're still going to need to buy someone else because he will try, he will work, but he's not the defensive minded player like a Baleba or like a Casemiro. That's why Anderson feels like a brilliant option in a two-man rebuild, especially if the other signing is going to be more disciplined and more controlling on the ball, the one that's going to sit in front of the back line. He's maybe not the cleanest Casemiro replacement, but he might be the one that's got the highest ceiling, that can go furthest, that's got the most potential. I really like this guy, but if we get him, it's going to cost an absolute fortune. I don't know if we can buy him and get someone else, but he is what a player. Okay, next up, João Gomes, and this one's probably easiest to understand. He's aggressive, he's sharp into duels, he's intense, he wins second balls, he gets about the pitch. There's definitely something to be said for that because too often United look like a midfield you can bully. Too often they look like a midfield you can bypass. Too often they don't make games uncomfortable enough for the opposition. João Gomez would help with that straight away. He gives you edge, he gives you fight, gives you that scrappy competitive side in midfield. The weakness though, the same kind of issue as Balba, just in a slightly different way. He doesn't look like the answer to all your control problems. He doesn't look like the one who can come in and suddenly dictate games for you. So if United sign João Gomez, it probably means they've decided the first priority is making midfield harder to play against. And that's fair because we are too easy to play against. But I'd still say he makes the most sense if it's one half of a pairing, not the full rebuild on his own. He's a proper functional midfield signing. Maybe not glamorous, but definitely needed. Okay, another name that's been dragged up recently, Tonali. He's one of those names where, as a player, you completely get it. Even if United link itself is weaker right now than some of the others, as a footballer, though, he makes so much sense. He can play deep, he can progress the ball, we can compete physically. He helps control matches. That's what makes him attractive. He's not just one thing. He's not just a tackler, not just a passer. He's not just an athlete. He feels like a proper all-round midfielder. In fact, out of all the players I've mentioned, this guy and the next guy is probably the ones who are closest to what Casemiro gives. The obvious weakness is the deal itself. He'd be expensive. Newcastle, the richest club in the world, they don't, they don't need the money. So trying to get him, it'd be difficult. Based on reports right now, doesn't feel like the strongest or most advanced link. This is one of those ones, the player fit is easy to understand, but the transfer reality is so out there. From a footballing point of view, very, very attractive. From a likelihood point of view, absolutely, definitely, probably not happening. Okay, last on the list, Bruno Guimarães, and he's another one where the fit is obvious, but for rumour, it's probably just a rumour. He's Premier League proven, he can dictate the ball, he can compete, he can create, he can score. He's got leadership as well. So if United want to go out and sign one midfielder who instantly upgrades the quality of the whole unit, Bruno would probably be that guy. The thing with Bruno, he's not a pure destroyer in the Casemiro mould. He's more complete, he's more rounded, he's more involved in everything. So signing him would not be about copying Casemiro exactly, be more about moving the midfield into a different direction altogether. The weakness, obviously, is the cost. Potentially huge. You're talking 100 million minimum. And again, the United link, it's not as strong as the other players we've named on this list. So for Bruno, it feels less likely, the most costly option and the most unrealistic option. But if it did happen, it would be absolutely welcome. What a player he is, but it's definitely not going to happen. Okay, so that's the list. For me, we need two out of this list. There's nobody that replaces Casemiro player for player. We don't know how much money we have yet. Getting Champions League will probably dictate on who we can go for. If Man United are desperate to get Anderson, I think that's the wrong move. We should be looking at the defensive side first. But if they're desperate to get Anderson, then they can only go for a João Gomez or maybe even a Leon Goretzka for free. But I think Anderson already has one foot in the door at City. So for me, it needs to be Baleba and it needs to be Wharton and it needs to be Goretzka. I know I didn't mention Goretzka in this video. Goretzka only makes sense as the third option. He's a free transfer. But like I said, we need people who are going to be Premier League proven. And so get them two in and then him as a third, get Goretzka in as a third. That would be perfect. So for me, Balaba, Wharton, and Goretzka, and that's the midfield problem solved. That way we can sell Ugarte, who's just not the one. He's he's got promise, but not in the Premier League. He'll go to another league and he will defensively be the biggest monster in that league, but not in the Premier League. He's just not got it. So that's the video. Who do you think we should sign? Who do you think's good enough to replace Casemiro? Anyone on this list? Do you think we'll get anyone on this list at all?